If you are listening to this now, it is not by chance. You were not drawn to this message without a purpose. God has something powerful to reveal, and if you feel it in your spirit, know that He is about to transform your reality. But understand, you are not just anyone. You are chosen. Your journey has never been ordinary because the promise over your life is not either. Each struggle, each tear, and each closed door were preparing you for this moment. But why so much struggle? Why hasn't your victory arrived yet? The answer is clear. The chosen ones are tested differently. You were not made to live a mediocre life, and that's exactly why your battles were more intense. The enemy tried to weaken you, wanted to make you believe that you wouldn't win. But God never took His eyes off you. Every injustice, every humiliation, and every difficult day were seen by Him. Now your season of scarcity has come to an end. What changes from now on? The time of lack is over. God has already determined that your turnaround is near. Doors that seemed locked will open in a supernatural way. Opportunities you never imagined will appear before your eyes. You will no longer need to fight to survive. Now you will live the fulfillment of the promise. The people who doubted you, who rejected you, who mocked your financial condition, will witness what God is about to do. Before we continue, I want to ask you a special favor. If this message is already speaking to you, like this video, subscribe to the channel, and comment "I received" down below. This simple action not only strengthens this community of the chosen ones but is also an act of faith, declaring that you are ready to live this transformation. Now, keep watching because what God has for you today will change everything. Many looked at you and did not see your true worth. Some judged you by your condition and assumed you would always be in the same situation. Maybe even those who should have supported you turned away. But listen closely, God is about to show the world who you really are. Your transformation will be so powerful that no one will be able to deny it. When the blessing arrives, it will not be small because the promise upon your life is grand. This is the time for the chosen ones to rise up. Are you ready to receive what is yours? The scarcity that has accompanied you until now is being ripped from your life. God has determined that poverty is no longer a part of your story. The time of fighting without seeing results has come to an end, and now a new chapter begins. He is releasing upon you a supernatural favor, a prosperity that will not only meet your needs but place you in a position of abundance. This promise is not small. What God has reserved for the chosen ones is not just enough, but an overflowing of blessings. The time of living counting the days until the next paycheck is over. The season of limitations and financial worries is being replaced by a time of abundance. Divine favor is opening doors that once seemed unreachable. Opportunities that seemed distant will now materialize. God doesn't just want you to survive, He wants you to thrive. And this prosperity will not be just for you but for those around you. What is being poured out over your life will become a living testimony of God's love and faithfulness. Every tear shed in silence, every sacrifice made without recognition, every moment of struggle was not in vain. God saw each of those moments and used each one to strengthen you. Now He is positioning you for a time of harvest. The wait is over. The suffering and difficulties will no longer have power over your life. The process of refinement is over, and the time has come to live what was promised. God is about to take you to a level where financial difficulties will no longer exist. This transformation will not be discreet. Those who saw you struggle will also see your rise. What was once a reason for contempt will now be a reason for admiration. For those who are unemployed, a special door is about to open. It won't be just a simple job, but rather the opportunity that will completely change your life. For those who already work and feel stuck, an unexpected promotion is on the way. God is preparing a path of elevation, where resources will no longer be a concern. Those who underestimated you will see that God was always by your side. The same voice that was used to mock you will now be forced to acknowledge what God has done. He is not only changing your situation, He is placing you in a position of honor and glory. The abundance that is coming will not be just any achievement. It will be a living testimony of divine action. God has already established your financial future, and no one can stop what He has decreed. The season of struggle has ended. Now the harvest season begins. The reality you knew is about to be transformed. The struggle to survive and financial uncertainty will be just memories of the past. God is opening new paths, bringing prosperity, and establishing a future where abundance will be your new identity. This is the time when the promise is fulfilled and your life begins to reflect the greatness of the divine purpose. The blessing that is coming will not be temporary but permanent. The flow of provision that God is pouring out upon you will not be interrupted. It will be a continuous overflow, where nothing will be lacking and everything you touch will prosper. The time of counting coins is over, because abundance is coming your way in a supernatural manner. The enormous effort that once seemed necessary will no longer be your reality. The favor of God will move the gears of destiny in your favor. What once seemed distant and unattainable will come to you effortlessly. The doors that were locked will open without you needing to force them. Opportunities you never imagined will be before your eyes, and each step will be guided by the hand of God. The words of disbelief that were cast against you will lose their power. Those who doubted, mocked, or tried to limit you will see that the work of God cannot be stopped. Your rise will be a living testimony of divine faithfulness. There will be no room for explanations or excuses from those who doubted you. The blessings will speak for themselves. The identity you carry is not defined by the past of difficulties. You are not a product of scarcity, nor of failure. God has already decreed a new destiny for your life, and He is rewriting your story with prosperity, success, and impact. Shame, pain, and financial worries will no longer be your companions. You are entering a time where divine favor will be your new reality. The weight of the past is being removed. No mistake, no loss, no disappointment can prevent you from accessing what God has prepared for you. What was stolen will be restored in a proportion that no one can contest. Divine justice is manifesting, and what was once in the wrong hands will be placed in the hands of the righteous. What God is doing now is not just about you. He is empowering you to be a channel of transformation, to impact lives and witness His faithfulness. Wealth will not only be a sign of your victory but a tool to fulfill an even greater purpose. The chosen do not live on scraps. They live from the overflow. The promise that God made about your life is being fulfilled now. The waiting time has come to an end. Everything that seemed distant, unattainable, finally manifests before you. The scarcity that once limited you is being removed and replaced by an abundant provision. This is the moment you have been waiting for. It's not something for the distant future, but a reality that has already begun to unfold. Your story is changing in an irreversible way. God is not just blessing you, He is placing you in a position of prominence, where your prosperity will serve as a testimony to many. What once seemed like an endless struggle is now transforming into a living testimony of divine favor. The abundance that is coming will not be temporary, but rather a constant reality in your life. The wealth that is being poured out upon you is not the result of human effort, but of divine purpose. It is not about simple material achievements, but the manifestation of God's faithfulness upon those who have been chosen. He is opening doors that could never be opened by human strength, creating opportunities that will lead you to a level of influence and success that once seemed impossible. The days of worry and anxiety are over. Now, every step you take will be guided by God to lead you to the place He has prepared for you. Divine favor is elevating you, connecting you with the right people, positioning you for opportunities that will completely transform your financial life. What is coming is not just enough, but an overflow of blessings that will impact everyone around you. Those who once discredited you will be forced to acknowledge what God is doing. Your rise will be so evident that no one will be able to ignore it. The success that God is bringing will not be discreet, it will be an undeniable manifestation of His power and faithfulness. You are no longer limited by circumstances. God has rewritten your story, erasing the pains of the past and opening a new path of prosperity. There is no more room for doubt or fear. The time of uncertainty is over. Now is the time to walk with confidence, knowing that your inheritance is already established. If this word is resonating with you, declare it in the comments. Write, "I am chosen," and firmly establish this truth in your heart. Moreover, share this video with someone who needs to hear this message. You can be the channel that God will use to transform lives. Now, pay attention because what comes next will surprise you. The transformation that is happening in your life cannot be interrupted. The rain of blessings that is coming will be so intense that it will cover all areas of your life. Wherever you go, the mark of divine provision will be upon you. What once seemed impossible is now becoming your new normal. God is placing resources in your hands so that you not only prosper but become a channel of transformation. What He is giving you is greater than any expectation you have ever had. This wealth will not come just to meet your needs, but to empower you to impact lives, to spread your light, and to fulfill a purpose that goes far beyond yourself. The change is not temporary. It's permanent. You have entered a new reality. The transformation that God is bringing about in your life is not limited to the financial area. What He is doing goes beyond what the eyes can see. The time of closed doors and constant struggles is behind you, because now you are being positioned for a new level. For a long time, you may have felt that progress was always out of reach, as if each step forward was followed by an unexpected barrier. But something is different now. That feeling that everything has always been difficult is being replaced by an inner certainty, Things are changing and there's no going back. Suddenly, opportunities that once seemed unattainable begin to arise. People who never noticed your presence now recognize your value. The path that once seemed impossible now opens up before you effortlessly. How is this happening? It's not luck, it's not chance, it's the divine movement preparing the perfect stage for your rise. The restlessness that has accompanied you for so long is fading away because your soul recognizes what is coming. Something inside you already knows. It is your time. God is placing you exactly where you should be at the right moment, in front of the right opportunities. And those who doubt it, they will witness this transformation without being able to contest it. The words that were thrown against you have lost their effect. The judgment, the disbelief, and the limitations imposed by others no longer hold any power. The blessing that is coming will be impossible to ignore. This change is not temporary. What God is doing in your life now is permanent. The resources He is releasing are not just to meet your needs, but to place you in a position of influence and impact. You will be a channel of blessings, and your prosperity will be a living proof of God's favor. Do you realize? The struggle is no longer part of your identity. What was once scarcity now becomes abundance. What was once doubt is now conviction. The future is already written, and it brings a single destiny, victory and fullness. You are not called to just receive but to distribute. The wealth that God is releasing upon your life will not be just for your benefit, but for a much greater purpose. There is a calling for you to become a channel of blessings, someone who transforms realities, lifts the fallen and spreads divine abundance. Many people spend their entire lives chasing money, believing that only human effort can guarantee success. But what is happening to you now does not come from excessive sweat or relentless pursuit. What is being released is a right granted by God, an inheritance that has already been established. The enemy tried to plant doubts in your heart, to make you believe that prosperity was not for you. But these lies are being undone. God does not want you to just struggle to survive, He wants you to live the fullness of what has already been determined. And this wealth will not be a burden, but a tool to manifest His glory. Something is changing. The right people are being connected to you. Opportunities that once seemed blocked are beginning to open up. Divine connections are already being aligned, and each encounter that comes will be a step towards the next level. You will realize that none of this is coincidence, but rather the hand of God guiding you to the right paths. These connections will not be common. People who can teach you, uplift you, and propel you will appear exactly at the right moment. And what seemed difficult to achieve will become natural. You will see doors opening unexpectedly, and your financial journey will change drastically. And the gifts that were dormant? They will be awakened. That which has always been within you, but perhaps has been ignored or underestimated, will begin to become a source of growth and provision. Innovative ideas, hidden talents, and skills you never imagined you possessed will become the instruments God will use to take you to the next level. The creativity that God has planted in you will be the vehicle to open new paths. It will no longer be about endless effort, but rather about acting in alignment with divine plans. Your talent will become a means of multiplication, a portal to new opportunities that will transform your reality. The change is already underway. There is a transition happening behind the scenes, and those who once held control over the resources will now see that wealth being redistributed. What was once out of your reach will now be placed in your hands. The time of scarcity is being replaced by a new reality of provision and influence. What was unjustly accumulated will be returned to the righteous. God is transferring resources, opening paths, and placing in your hands the tools to fulfill your purpose. And this will not be a temporary blessing, but a constant flow of provision, which will not only sustain your life but also enable you to uplift those around you. The abundance that is coming cannot be interrupted. The resources that once seemed unattainable now align perfectly with the divine plan. This is not just a financial turnaround, but a complete transformation that will redefine your trajectory. The time of scarcity is over. What was once just a promise is now becoming a decree. The provision is already flowing, and you will not only see the change but be the change itself. Your story is being rewritten, and the ending will not be one of lack or disappointment, but of victory and abundance. What does it mean to walk in the abundance of God? It is not simply possessing wealth, but living in a reality where nothing is lacking. It's waking up every day knowing that your provision has already been released. It's looking back and realizing that all the pains, sacrifices, and challenges served to prepare you for this moment. There is no more struggle for the basics. The time of counting coins and worrying about bills has come to an end. Now, each step will be taken on fertile ground, where growth is inevitable and provision never runs out. What was once a daily battle now transforms into a continuous flow of blessings. The transformation is not just in your finances. It's in your identity. You will no longer be recognized for what was lacking, but for what overflows. God has called you to be a distributor of wealth, and this abundance that comes into your hands will not be held back. It reaches you so that you can reach others. The anxiety about the future disappears when you are certain that everything is already written. What was once a burden on your shoulders now becomes an unwavering lightness. What? Because God has already resolved what you have tried to solve with your own strength for so long. The gates of divine favor have been opened, and what once seemed impossible now flows naturally. What was held back is being released. What seemed blocked is being unlocked. The blessing is not just arriving, it has already arrived. What was insecurity now becomes conviction. What was fear now transforms into courage. What was a desert now becomes a river of abundance. You no longer struggle to survive, you live to prosper. And when they look at you, they will not see just someone who has succeeded financially. They will see a living testimony of the power of God. If this message spoke to you, don't let it pass. Declare in the comments, "I take possession," because when you speak, you activate your faith. Like this video, share it, and subscribe to the channel so that this word continues to reach those who also need this transformation. Abundance has already been released, and now it's your time to live this promise.